Now, this is going to be the most comprehensive update on what living in Dallas, Texas is going to look like next year and into the future. Look, you've probably seen other videos that focus on things like the scorching Texas heat, the infamous traffic, and the unpredictability of the Texas weather. And hey, I've shot a few of those myself over the years, and I'm guilty of covering these basics as well. But guess what? I actually agree with a lot of those points, but today you're getting a refreshed version, right? I'm gonna talk about the things that you haven't heard before, like how the economy affects the local lifestyle, how gambling is going to completely change the spotlight here in Dallas soon. We're gonna go over the areas that are seeing the most change and how living in Dallas can impact your overall well-being, mental health, and your pocketbook. So let's get into it.
I need you in the morning, but I need you now. Yeah, I find you, I give you all you need.
So Money Magazine just recently named Dallas as one of the top 10 places to live in America for the second year in a row. And look, guys, with nearly 150 people moving here every single day, clear that Dallas is really in the spotlight. You know, over the last few years, Dallas has seen just a tremendous amount of growth. And with that newfound popularity comes new pros and new cons, right? And while I'm still very happy with my city and where it's headed, you can definitely start to feel some of these growing pains. Now, if you're new to the channel, we haven't met before, I'm Mark and my team and I, we help people buy, sell, and relocate right here to the DFW Metro. If you need our help, guys, feel free, reach out. All of our contact info is down in the description below and pinned to the top of the chat. Now, Dallas has become much more busier than it used to be. My spouse and I, we love to go out on date nights whenever we can, and recently I've noticed having dinner reservations is almost a must. Now, I have a few spots where they know me and we can get around the wait, but this weekend we tried a brand new place and the wait was like 45 minutes. It used to only be like that at certain areas, popular spots, Nick and Sam's Steakhouse over on Maple Avenue. That's a classy upper echelon type of restaurant, and it's usually full every single day of the week. But, these days, it feels like every place is a hotspot now. The major roadways are busier, the best rated schools are packed with kids, some even with waiting lists for over a year, right? And everything seems to be moving at just a much faster pace, and some people are struggling to keep up. And while all of this might sound like a massive negative and there's no way to spin it into something it's not, I started to really look at things through a different lens, and in a weird way, I can see it all really just unfolding. So just hear me out, right? Tons of people moved here and things started to feel busier, right? Businesses and developers took notice and started investing in Dallas. The influx of domestic migration has caused Dallas to surge and the economy is really booming. Along with its new residents, Dallas now has this competitive spirit to be better. And you can see that in the new developments going on everywhere. The city is literally transforming before our very eyes at a pace where most will either complain or embrace it. Me personally, I love the transformation because while it's growing, many of those involved are also focused on preserving Dallas's history and its traditions, right? All the while continuing to modernize the city and everything associated with it. Trinity Groves has seen a lot of economic development. There's a lot of money being pumped into that area that's really spurring a lot of new growth. We're starting to see new luxury apartments go up, multi-level townhomes with the luxury amenities, old homes being torn down and brand new modern ones replacing it. We're starting to see new neighborhoods revitalized, new businesses coming into the fold. They even have new skyscrapers in the works right at the foot of the Margarita Hunt Bridge. Now, this bridge is gonna be one of Dallas's biggest landmarks that everybody knows as soon as you come into downtown. You see the big white bridge with all those rafters leading right across the Trinity River. I'm telling you guys, it's just really something special when you're riding into downtown. So in the last few years, Dallas has received various awards for being, a great business city. And it probably shocked a few people because most of y'all really think that we're just all about cowboy boots and rodeos. But that's not true anymore, right? Our main drivers here have always been finance, healthcare, manufacturing, and telecommunications. But the sector that has really started to see the most growth is gonna be our technology industry. Listen, Dallas has created more tech jobs than any other city in Texas and is quickly becoming one of the top cities in the nation for tech jobs in 2025. Like I mentioned in other videos, guys, I go to a tech mixer at least once a month. It's called Mixer Cloud, and if you guys want to look it up on Instagram, you can. You have so many people coming together inside the fields of the tech industry, swapping ideas, swapping information, really creating connections, and then really creating that foundation that can catapult careers. Now look, I'm from Mississippi. I grew up on 125 acres of farmland, and one thing my grandfather taught me was the principle of sowing and reaping. Now, as an entrepreneur, understanding giving value to the world on a consistent basis, doing right by people and showing up in the marketplace are going to be the keys to success now and into the future moving forward. And Dallas is going to be on the forefront of all things economical. It's really just inevitable. So if you want a place where you can really become successful, build meaningful relationships, and continue to grow yourself, your family, and your net worth, this is the place that you're going to want to be. one thing that is flying under the radar that no one else on YouTube is even talking about, but will be explosive news if it goes through, is they're actually trying to legalize gambling in the state of Texas. Now, in order for them to do this, it has to be a 2/3 vote with the Texas House and the Texas Senate, and that would have to be approved in legislation, and voters would have to approve it on the ballot as well. Now, what makes this news is just recently a petition was filed by the coalition that is financially backed by the Las Vegas Sands Group, and this corporation is owned by the Allison and Dumont family, right? So Miriam Addison is a billionaire, and her son-in-law, Patrick Dumont, is the COO of the company. So Miriam had her hand in bringing, the Raiders to the Las Vegas Strip, and she's said to be a big donor in the Republican Party, which we all know Texas is a red state. And get this, her company just bought majority stake from Mark Cuban in the Dallas Mavericks, and they just bought 108 acres right outside of Dallas. Any idea what you think they're planning to do with that land? Look, like I always tell people in my circle, follow the money and align yourself with the wealth. I mean, if gambling gets legalized in Texas, just add that to all the pillars of economic development that's happening right now. It's only going to accelerate the rate of growth, as this would bring more people, more tourists, and more businesses into the fold. And another point no one else has even mentioned is Texas is working on starting its own stock exchange. And then where's that physical location going to be headquartered? You guessed it, right here in Dallas, Texas. Look, this stock exchange is going to compete with the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange, right? They've already raised over $120 million in capital, and they plan to register with the Securities and Exchange Commission later on in this year. And get this, they plan to start facilitating trades in 2025. This is just going to bring yet another economic boost to this economy that is already thriving out of control. So from an opportunity standpoint, it's hard to bet against Dallas, right? So one of the biggest changes that I've been seeing since I moved here has been the gentrification of certain areas. Listen, like I said, it's been happening for years, but over the last 3 to 4 years, the rate at which the gentrification is happening has sped up considerably, right? If you roll around some of these lower income areas, places with, smaller homes, older homes, limited access to grocery stores and shops, you're starting to notice homes being torn down and brand new ones like this duplex being built in their place. I've even seen articles where, new ordinances have been passed in certain areas that made a lot of these older homes out of compliance with new building codes. You'll have things like outdated electrical, new standards for windows, doors, etc., right? It really leaves these homeowners with only 2 options. Either spend the money to update their property, which typically in these type of areas, most homeowners are on a fixed income, or they can just sell it, most likely to a developer. Now, the thing you really have to understand about these areas is the people that live in these homes have probably been here for, 20 or 30 years. Some of these homes have been passed down from generation to generation, usually within the family. But moving forward, whenever these properties are passed down to the younger generation, a lot of these people tend to sell and move elsewhere or already live somewhere else and just not gonna move back. Now, as I take a walk through some of these neighborhoods, you can see the evidence of what is going on. You'll have these older structures that may need a lot of work right next to these new modern style homes. This is something that I always tell people to make sure that you understand when you're on Instagram, when you see those flashy realtors taking you on a tour of these big, beautiful Texas homes with the price tag that makes your mouth water, right? They're gonna shoot those videos in vertical format. They do that for a reason, right? And for me, when I see things like that, I always tend to ask myself, what aren't they showing you? But here on this channel, guys, you're gonna get it raw and real. My job is to be thorough and give you all the information so you can make an educated decision for you and your family. So look, guys, all I'm saying is just be sure to do your due diligence and make sure it's gonna be a good fit for you and your family. I'm in this industry every single day, and all realtors are not built the same. Listen, I believe in being transparent and upfront. So if those are some of the traits that you want helping you find your next home, feel free to reach out, guys. All of our contact info is down in the description below. So I'm super excited to announce we just released our Reload Ready bundle. This is a bundle that gives you our knowledge of the Metroplex, the best areas, best food spots, best schools, and overall what to expect. And lastly, we're gonna give you access to our preferred property list. This is when builders have inventory that they need to move. They call and give us first dibs. These are gonna be those discounted properties you won't find on Realtor or Zillow.com. So if you want exclusive access, click the link below, become a part of our inner circle where we say less and pay less. Now, back to the video. So this next talking point is going to be a hot topic in all major cities around the country, and the pains of inflation are very real. People are really wondering when incomes are going to start to rise. As Dallas continues to attract new companies that create more local jobs, as our economy further diversifies and more high-paying jobs enter the market for locals, this is going to bring us to the infamous cost of living conversation. Hey, you can't shoot the messenger on this one. Look, these days, the cost of living in Dallas can be a touchy subject. And why is that? Because so many people remember the good old days when homes were $150,000 and you can get a decent meal for under $10. But let me be honest with you, those days are gone. What I find is that a lot of people tend to compare what they knew of Dallas, the more relaxed, affordable city that flew under the radar, to the city it's become now, and then they expect the cost of living to be the same. I get people from all over the world relocating here, and you know what? People coming from larger cities don't think it's that bad, while the people coming from smaller towns thinks it's a bit too expensive, and the locals who've been here for years are also in a crunch. They tend to be the ones in my comment section yelling at people like yourself who are thinking about making a move here. And look, I get it. They want to hang on to what they've had and the way things have always been. But the one thing in life that is guaranteed is change. Now, Dallas is currently still below the average cost of living compared to the national average, right? And when I dove even deeper into the numbers, Dallas is in the middle of the pack for the major Texas cities and on the lower end for similar sized cities like places like New York, places like DC, Los Angeles, Miami, and Chicago. Just understand this trend is going to continue. And if you don't move and get into this market now, it's just going to get more and more expensive in the future. Look, another cost you're going to want to keep an eye on is going to be your homeowner's insurance and your interest rates when planning to buy a home. This should come as no surprise right now, but Texas and Dallas as well have been battling rising homeowners insurance, largely due to the increasing population, the frequency of more severe weather events, things like hailstorms, things like flooding down in Houston. But here's what you need to really know, right? The biggest risk usually comes with older properties. For example, I own a 1980s rental property around 1,600 square feet. I pay around $3,500 a year on insurance when it used to be half of that. I also don't pay for the cheapest one, so you got to keep that in mind as well. But one thing I know is that if you prefer new construction, my same house would only cost about $150 a month to insure. And that's because older homes carry just more risk, right? The insurance company takes into account you're more likely to file a claim. They usually charge more for those policies, while the newer homes get all the nice discounts, making them much more affordable. And I'd say 90% of our clients, when they come down here to Texas, they want to buy new construction homes with all the great incentives builders offer. And the builders typically have, no emotional attachment to the properties like say a homeowner would. So they're much more willing to wheel and deal to make a contract happen. Now, if you add in the fact that we've built relationships with all the builders around the Metroplex, bringing them buyers month in and month out, there's going to be also a little bit of added savings to you because you're working with us and all the relationships that we've built for you. Like I said, this is really the main reason people reach out to us. They know we can get the job done. So if you're thinking, I'm going to move down to Dallas, I want to holler at Mark, go ahead, feel free to reach out. All of our contact info's down there in the description. Now, if you're worried about interest rates, my advice would be before you start home shopping, you want to speak with a lender and become a little more comfortable with what your payment is going to look like. I think a lot of people are kind of surprised, and we sometimes see, a disconnect in the amount that someone wants to pay monthly versus the total price of a home that they want to buy. Now, with the higher interest rates, you should pay attention to your monthly payment to really understand what you're going to be comfortable with, and then you go shopping with a clear picture. And FYI, I am shooting this video towards the end of 2024, and rates have started to come down a little bit. I believe we're going to see moderate rate decreases through 2025, but I don't really believe we're going to see this steep decrease in the interest rates. Not really going to be enough to make a world of difference with your mortgage payments right in this moment. So don't wait another 2 years on the sidelines. If your timing is right, if the move is going to be right for you right now, just do it. Because the longer you wait, the more it's going to cost you on the back end. Now, yes, Dallas's cost has increased in the last few years, but we can't really compare it to smaller cities. If you're going to say it's expensive, you have to compare apples to apples with similar sized metros. And the people here really get that, right? And they're making the choice to move to a better lifestyle. They're trading out their current home near a larger, more competitive city, and then they're planting roots here in Dallas. It's the change that many of you want, but it comes down to timing for most people or just the opportunity. For instance, our current clients have decided to move from the Washington, D.C. area. They wanted to get out of the colder climate and find their forever home here in Dallas. After just a few days of searching with my team, we were able to find them the perfect neighborhood, and they decided to build with Grand Home, which if you've never seen a Grand Home, then you're in for a treat. You see, Grand is one of my favorite luxury builders. They have some incredible floor plans and options to choose from, right? Now, this home priced out at about $630,000, which is honestly a great price for a Grand Home. You know, we found the community on the east side of Dallas, which is growing rapidly, but homes are just much more affordable over there. Here, let me give you a little perspective. So with the exact same floor plan another one of our subscribers is building on the north side of Dallas, they're contracted for $850,000. So yeah, we have multiple areas we can direct you in based upon your situation and your budget. Now, another thing everybody's moving down here for is going to be the opportunities, right? And those can come in many different forms. But for most people, it's usually just a new job opportunity. You know, I'm seeing a ton of folks relocating here for new tech jobs, military transfers, and since our medical field is really booming right now, we're getting a ton of healthcare professionals as well. You know, I recently helped a couple from Kansas City relocate here. You know, we found them a great townhome in an exclusive neighborhood. The husband worked for one of the hospitals that, you know, is located there in downtown, and they wanted to be in a great community, no more than 20 minutes from the city center. And there are so many people just like that coming down for new jobs, changing careers, and, you know, Dallas is becoming a haven for more and more opportunities for more and more people. All right, so now we're gonna go into something a little bit more fun, right? Now, health and well-being is also something that you get living in DFW, right? I've helped enough people to know living in Dallas has been a great decision for most people. I mean, even from my own personal experience, it's been a great boost for me and my family. You know, my kids are thriving, my wife is thriving, my business is booming, and most of the friends I've made and the associates I've networked with all say the same thing. Texas just offers you more. You know, I've had clients that moved here from other northern areas or colder regions that have those brutal winter months that really messed with them, right? Having to get up a few hours early just to shovel all the snow, melt the ice on their windshields. They even said they just felt cooped up during the cold winter months, and there aren't many bright sunny days during that time either, right? They said it was just gloomy. You know, they ended up having to take vitamin D supplements to compensate. They also mentioned that at times it's common for people to get depressed, like have anxiety or other issues when they're cooped up for different seasons. Now, after moving to Dallas, many of those issues just went away immediately on their own, right? You know, year round, they can get outside and get as much sun as they wanted. So they stopped taking those supplements altogether. Like I've said, guys, Dallas is the future of the United States. If you can't see it, you're in denial. And if you want to learn more things about the DFW Metroplex, then you can check out these videos right here.